Hello, and welcome to this video. My name is Serena Kainlake, and I am a member of tCRIL, or the Center for Reimagining Learning. We want to present today a brief video that introduces what tCRIL is, who we are, and a little bit about what we're currently working on. So to begin with, what is tCRIL? A few months ago, 2U acquired edX, and tCRIL was spun out of that acquisition as a nonprofit organization. We are the stewards of the Open edX platform and the software ecosystem, but we are not a unilateral software direction control entity. We want to work with the community to build the Open edX platform and make it better and better. So let's meet the team. Who's part of tCRIL? Take it away, Adolfo.
Hey, I'm Adolfo, and I have a cat. She's right there. And as you can see from the slide, I once wore a hat. It was just that once. I moved to a relatively remote beach in the shores of southeastern Brazil about 10 years ago, just as soon as remote work became a thing, and I never left. Though I did stop going to the beach after my USB ports started rusting. I'm pretty big on open source software. It's basically the only kind of software I've ever worked with. And I'm still constantly surprised that you can make a living off of it, right? Fingers crossed. This led me to Open edX, which I started playing around with in 2015. And then via a somewhat tortuous road, I ended up here at tCRIL, where I'm supposed to take the work on the front end forward.
My name is Serena Kainlake. I've been working on the Open edX platform a cumulative 5 years, right from the beginning, took a little break and came back to edX and moved immediately to tCRIL. I have a passion for open source software. I once submitted exactly one patch to the Linux kernel, which is a highlight of my career. And I live in Cambridge, Massachusetts. I have 3 beautiful, perfect cat sons. And I love to decorate my home for Christmas, as you can see from this slide. Kyle.
Hi there, I'm Kyle McCormick. I started at edX in 2015 as an intern, and then I was an intern at edX after that again. And then I worked at edX full-time for a while before switching over to tCRIL. I love Open edX, I love open source, and I love making software that works for users and works for developers. I also love the outdoors. Here's me skiing. And yeah, you'll see me working on things related to developer experience and around the build test release working group.
Jenna.
Hi, I'm Jenna. I'm the Open edX product manager at tCRIL. I'm fairly new to tCRIL, but I came from a prior role at a small nonprofit that was actually an edX partner. So I worked for the SDG Academy, where we built MOOCs on behalf of the United Nations. And then prior to that, I held a number of product management roles in the higher education publishing sector. At the moment at tCRIL, my priorities are working on getting an Open edX public roadmap off the ground, as well as a product working group. And I'm also working on some market scoping and research projects to help us quantify the reach and impact of the Open edX project globally, and to provide some baseline data to help us make some decisions about future platform strategy and enhancement. And in my free time, you can find me in my natural habitat, which is usually like running up mountains or down into canyons around Denver, where I just moved after about 10 years on the East Coast.
And Carlos.
Hi, I'm Carlos Muñiz. I'm a software engineer at tCRIL, focusing on pretty much anything. As of right now, I've been working on a lot of deprecation and decoupling stuff. The main working group I work with is TransFX, and I have the least amount of Open edX experience at about 1/4 of a year. A little bit about me, I love karaoke and dancing salsa. I box an orthodox stance, but ride skateboards in a goofy stance, which means I'm opposite. And I can walk on my hands, do a standing backflip, and juggle, at least last time I checked.
I'm going to see that at the conference, I hope. Dave.
Hi, I'm Dave Ormsby. I am a software architect at tCRIL. Prior to that, I've been involved with the OpenEdX project since the early prototype days at MITx, so a little over 10 years ago. My focus, architecture, I'm really excited about the new learning core, as well as various IMS standards like LTI. Involved with data working group, Depper, and core contributors. And let's see, I grew up in Hawaii. If you see random references to Hawaiian things in the code, that's probably me. And yes, also I very much enjoy performance tuning and snarky technical presentations.
Yeah, look forward to those. Those are amazing. Fanil.
Hi, everyone. My name is Fanil Patel. I'm also a software architect here at tCRIL, and I have been with the OpenEdX project since the beginning, sort of, which is that I started the day after it became open source. So as long as this project has been open source, I have been working on it. And I started off on the operations side, and have sort of moved around since then. I tend to, my work tends to sort of be in a bunch of places, but tend to focus a lot on making processes that make it easier for people to do their jobs, and hoping always to write slightly more code than I usually get to. But I love solving problems. I love coming to decisions much faster than most people are comfortable with. I have a lot of hobbies in my spare time, and I always wish I had more time for my hobbies. I also often wish I had more time for all of the many things I want to work on with OpenEdX. So I'm really excited for the work we're about to do as tCRIL and how we're going to support a community of people who want to do amazing things. Ed?
Hi, I'm Ed Zarakor. I'm the VP of Engineering for the OpenEdX project at tCRIL. I've been involved with OpenEdX since 2012, and I was at edX for over 2 years, working on OpenEdX and other things. Wore many hats at edX, maybe all of the hats. Right now, I'm truly privileged to be leading the amazing team that has been assembled at tCRIL to focus on advancing the OpenEdX project. And also, consider myself very lucky to work with the amazing community that we have. And the project's really, from my point of view, at a critical inflection point. And I'm really, really excited to see what this community and this team can do, because I really feel like technology can can really revolutionize education, and we've just really gotten started in that space. So I want to be part of that transformation.
Well, thanks everybody for those intros. Next part of this presentation, just want to give you a high-level overview of what we're up to over at tCRIL for the next, few months. So let's go back to Ed, talk about our goals and strategies.
Yeah, as many folks already know, over the last 2 years at edX, we were focusing on creating opportunities for kind of a more genuine and authentic engagement with the community and contribution from the community to the project, both in terms of not only contributing code, but also steering the direction that the project was going in. And in a lot of ways, tCRIL will kind of continue and double down on those strategies that we were pursuing at edX. But we will also be working to advance, as an engineering team, certain critical capabilities of the platform. Just to it's here on the slide, but I'll read it out so everybody is clear about it. Our overall goal as an organization currently is to make OpenEdX a true community-driven platform, increasing community ownership and involvement and contribution. To that end, we have kind of 3 strategies that we are pursuing. And if you go from left to right, you go from kind of the the biggest, least granular, most general to like the specific things that we're doing on the far right-hand side. So at the top level, from a strategic point of view, we're focusing on simplifying the platform to make it easier to understand and adopt. How I would summarize that. To kind of optimize community work, to like clarify how the community engages, how the community works on their project, increase opportunities for community participation. And then finally driving some net new initiatives that we think are critical for the project. One of those we've just launched today, which is our instance survey. We want to be able to track the impact of the Open edX project across the world. So that's something we haven't been able to completely do until now, and we've launched a survey to start to gather that data. On the simplification side, we've been focused on driving the adoption of Tutor. So we have a unified development environment, reducing the startup costs for new developers joining the project. And I won't go through all of these things, but you can read the slide here. But again, just sort of a continuation and acceleration of some of the work that we had already started at edX. Next slide.
All right, I'll throw it over to Jenna.
Sure. So as you saw on the prior slide, one of the major focus points that we're working on as a team is getting a community roadmap up and running. And one of the biggest challenges for the Open edX project is that there's never really been a central product roadmap that captures all of the work across the entire Open edX ecosystem. But now with Open edX starting its next chapter as the standalone product under the stewardship of tCRIL, we have the opportunity to really create that roadmap and then to drive the product in potentially new and exciting directions. And so in the near term, the goal is to capture all of the current in-flight work that's happening across the Open edX landscape. And this will help us answer questions like what's coming up in the next Nutmeg release, or what kind of features or enhancements can I expect in the next 6 to 12 months. But then over the long term, we have ambitions to expand the roadmap. So it's a space for discovery and a space for conversation about prioritizing future product strategies and making decisions about product direction and investment. And to that aim as well, we're also in the process of creating a product working group to help drive the roadmap as a community endeavor. And we're looking forward to everyone in the community joining us on that effort.
So thank you, Jenna. And Kyle, we'll deep dive on the developer experience.
Yeah, as Ed already alluded to, one of the big things we want to focus on is the experience of Open edX developers. Big challenge facing them today, as I'm sure everyone who's worked on the platform is aware, is that it's hard to work on the platform. The platform itself is complicated. It's been developed for years, has a lot of great features, but along that way has gotten pretty complex. And along with that, the tools we use to develop it, specifically the Open edX dev stack or developer stack, is complicated and doesn't really follow our goals of being extensible and easy to use. So what we would like to do going forward is driving that option of Tutor. Tutor is a tool that was created by a member of the Open edX community, Brigitte Spimo, and has gotten lots of adoption, both as a deployment vehicle and as a development environment. So we'd like to take Tutor and make it easier for everyone to use in the community, and replace DevStack ideally with that. And in addition to making the developer tooling easier, we'd like to simplify the platform itself by strategically, as we have time, contributing to certain deprecation initiatives that we think are particularly valuable. So over the next 6 to 12 months, you're going to see that. You're going to see me and Regis and some folks from 2U, specifically Becca Graber and Diana Huang. We're going to be helping people move from DevStack to Tutor. And we're going to be smoothing out any remaining bumps in the Tutor development experience and making sure plugins exist so that people can use Tutor like they use DevStack and more. And you'll see us participating in certain deprecation initiatives like bok choy and the old Mongo deprecation. So yeah, we're looking forward to that. And we hope that you will find that development of Open edX gets easier and easier over time. And contributing to that more will be hopefully some improved documentation, which Faniel can talk about now.
Thank you, Kyle. Yeah, so one of the other pieces that we're going to be working on is a documentation overhaul. This is a fairly large project. We're going to be working on it for a while, but we're sort of starting from the bottom up here and trying to understand what the kinds of documentation we have, who are the people that we are trying to serve with our documentation, what problems we're trying to solve from the bottom up. So it is a huge project, but our goal is to build a place, a starting point for everyone, a place that anybody can go to and get the documentation they need to solve the problem that they have at any given point. And if that sounds big, it is. We plan to do it incrementally, but look forward to more changes in this space, and we'll be needing your help to build out that documentation. Our goal here is to build out a structure and a process that makes it easier for people to know where to go to look for the documentation. And then we're going to be working really hard with the community to find the right experts to actually write that documentation. So get excited because you're about to write some documentation. Next.
Looking forward to that. And Adolfo, some upcoming work on the front end.
Yeah, just a brief overview of what we intend to focus on in the front end, or should I say front ends, right? So the idea behind MFEs is to help break down edX platform into the more manageable pieces. And we've been pretty much able to do that over the past few months and years, but that doesn't mean the effort is complete. It isn't, and not by a long shot. For starters, we need a better way to handle MFE configuration so that it doesn't necessarily need to happen at build time. If we do this, this would open up MFEs for much more customizability, which in itself is one of the top items in our initial agenda. Because one of the things we lose in moving away from Django rendering is the ease to extend and override the behavior of the rendered page without having to fork the code base for plugins, for instance, or for theming. We hope to make significant headway here in the near future with MFEs. Finally, perhaps ironically, because MFEs give us so much freedom to develop, in theory, you can have an MFE with a totally different stack from the next MFE over. The problem now is that MFEs are different enough to cause headaches to people when developing or deploying MFEs. So we're looking into standardizing them at least a little more to make the lives of both developers and deployers that much easier. That's it.
All right, thank you, Adolfo. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening. If you have questions for us, when we post this video online, it's going to be posted on a discourse thread, and we welcome you to jump on in there. We also have a compliments page linked right here. It's got a ton of information, who we are, what we work on, the GitHub issues we're working on, and the GitHub project boards that you can see, and what we have in flight at any given point in time. So we look forward to hearing with you and working with you. And have a nice day.